What's going on, everybody? It's Professor Zeus, and I'm back with another video. If this is your first time at the channel, I just want to let you know I greatly appreciate you. Why don't you go ahead and hit subscribe? We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers, and we are taking it the humble route. So today we're looking at a video that's, someone sent me. It's essentially a woman who's arguing that it's stupid for a woman to have babies right now because of so many different reasons, like, President Trump, layoffs, and, men, bad decisions, and all that. And I'm here to break it down, try to keep it as real as I can and, try to be critical because, this video, it's a lot. And I'll try to be fair, but I'm not going to try to sugarcoat any sort of flaws. And stick around because, I've got a big question that I'd like to ask. If women stop having kids, how does humanity even continue? Let's get into it. Hit the like button if you're ready. So here's a video, and from what I've basically seen before we go over it together, it's pretty wild. She's throwing everything at the wall. Trump, racism, the economy, layoffs, traditional values, women's oppression, and hoping it sticks to justify why women shouldn't have any children today. I will give her that, she's articulate. I'll give her that. Her vocabulary is extremely on point, and she seems to be educated. I think she went to law school or something. So, props to her for her delivery. It's really admirable. But, the problem that I have, well, the problem that I've seen is that, she's all over the place, and it's like she's mixing, a whole bunch of talking points into a blender and calling it an argument. But the issue is it doesn't really blend. So let's unpack this. Let me pull this video up.
Backslide into being dumbasses in 2025 and then using feminist, womanist language and verbiage to justify their dumbassery is astonishing. I'm seeing so many posts from women who are saying that us women who are taking a step back and telling women not to have children and things like that, we're misogynistic now because the language that we're using to describe things like pregnancy and childbirth and child rearing and motherhood are misogynistic. So the societies that make motherhood damn near impossible, if not altogether unpleasant, are not misogynistic. Us women cautioning you against making an unwise decision that you're not prepared for, we're the misogynists. I guess, right? When we're making decisions about bringing human beings into this world, actual living, breathing human beings, we have to examine context. And I'm sorry, context is everything, especially today in 2025, excuse me, when here in America we have a neo-Nazi human Dorito toupee wearing sentient cartoon character back in our White House again. Like, we still have the choice to not be mothers. So I think we take for granted that that choice has not always been ours to make, particularly because those of us who are 40 and under do not have a living memory of a time or a place where choice was not something that we, lacked. We have choices now that our mothers who are alive and breathing now didn't have in their youth. I'm 32 years old and I'm child free. By the time my mom was 32, she was married with a 6-year-old. I was 6 when my mom was 32, and those things were required of her. And she came of age in the 1980s, guys. Like, weaponizing feminist womanist language that arose as a result of the systemic oppression of women to tell other women that we're being misogynistic because we're advising you against having children while you're poor is not what you think it is. It's not. And you can call me eugenics or eugenicist or whatever. You can call me all the names that you're pulling out of your theoretical textbooks. I don't care. Facts are facts. I think too many women, especially in the modern contemporary age, want to force themselves to live in the world that they think should exist rather than living in the world that currently exists. You see what I mean? Like, they want to force their view, force their reality into reality when it's still just a fantasy, it's still just a delusion. And then I see some of these same women saying things like, oh, well, if everything is just sucky and if the world is still racist and patriarchal, which it very much is, then why do you bother even trying anyway? Why bother getting a degree? Why bother trying to climb a corporate ladder? Why bother pursuing your dreams and ambitions and goals? Why do I still bother pursuing those things? Because none of those things are human beings. Those are inanimate either objects or ideas. None of those things result in a human being being brought to life, whom I now have to house and feed and rear. Do you see the difference? My degrees, my educational pieces of paper are not human beings. My job is not a human being. My career ambitions and goals and all of those things are not human beings. That's the difference. What I'm fast seeing is like this like baby boomer level of entitlement that a lot of women are gaining as a result of movements like the child free movement and things like that. It's this entitlement to, well, if you can be happy without having kids, and why can't I be happy with children? No one is saying that. Don't be obtuse. No one is saying that at all. What we're saying instead is, will the child be happy? Because you'll be happy. And yeah, the child is happy ages 0 to 5 because they don't know any better. But do you have a plan for this child's future outside of just providing love? Outside of just providing hugs and kisses? Do you have a plan for this child when the child is no longer a child and they're a teenager, then they're an adult? Now what? Then I also see.
So I'm going to link this video into the description. I usually do that. So you guys can, watch the rest of the video. So there's a few things, right? She's spoke about, Trump as of today, March 4th. He's been in office for, like a month. And, she's already essentially blaming him for a toxic world that's unfit for kids. She ties that to racism, saying that, the environment's hostile because of the type of narrative he's pushing. And she pivots to the economy, layoffs, instability, and says, that's another huge issue. And, don't forget traditional values. She's got a bone to pick with those too, claiming that, they've oppressed women forever, saying that women never had a choice. I get it. She's definitely passionate, but to me, this is kind of like a logic salad. Here's the thing. If your point is, don't have children because you're in poverty or you lack of resources, that's a conversation that can be had. It's grounded because obviously resources matter. But tying that to, Trump's 1 month presidency or some vague racist boogeyman, I think that's a stretch. She even brings up like her mom having her at 26, and by the time she was 32, she was 6. Like what does that prove? You know what I mean? It's fluff. It's not about who's in office or your mom's timeline or your mom coming of age in the 1980s. It's about your plan. I think she's reaching, and it's kind of showing. But we can flip it, obviously. She does have a half decent point buried in there where maybe we shouldn't normalize having children under crazy circumstances like single parents struggles or the broke is a joke lifestyle. I definitely feel that. Our culture has kind of gone off the rails a little bit. Everybody's trying to flex for Instagram, everybody's trying to keep up with the Joneses, keep up with everybody that they see. So bringing children into chaos without a game plan, that's fair to critique. But where I'm going to push back is people who are in the middle class, like regular people, can raise kids just fine if they adjust. If you stop chasing clout, scale back your lifestyle and focus on what matters, you know, you'll be fine. My wife is always saying, go outside, touch grass. Keep it simple. You don't need a mansion or a Tesla to raise a kid, right? So why is she acting like the world's too doomed for that? Trump's not crashing your paycheck tomorrow. Like, we're not in Armageddon. You know what I mean? And you guys have seen in a lot of my previous videos where I've, you know, reacted to a lot of people who don't have this defeatist attitude, right? You have to take life by its reins and go about take control of your life, take control of your destiny, right? And she also mentions layoffs, I think, a little bit later in the video, and bad decisions. Like, okay, that's valid. You can't always plan for losing a job or life throwing you curveballs. That's true, but the thing is, that's always happened throughout life. Layoffs happened under Obama, Bush, Clinton, Biden. Pick any president. Life gets messy. So you don't have to stop living it because things get hard. She's acting like 2025 is uniquely terrible. Uniquely terrible. And honestly, I'm not buying it. What she's missing, I think, I don't know her, but it looks like she needs community. We don't need to do this life thing alone. Lean on your people. We've all got friends, family, neighbors for a reason, you know? And she looks like she's so busy, decentering men and dunking on the patriarchy or the bad orange man with a toupee that, she's forgetting the basics. You don't need a perfect economy. You need a solid circle and a plan. And I think, how she framed it, it's clouding that. But the big question that I have, that if the majority of women have this mentality or buy into this, no kids because Trump, layoffs, whatever, what happens to us? Humanity doesn't just pause. We're not going to be here forever. If women stop having kids in a large scale, we're done. Full stop. And I don't think she's thinking about the long game. Sure, obviously we have to be intentional, don't have kids that you can't support. I totally agree with that and I'm with that. But blanket statements like it's stupid to have babies now, I think that's kind of reckless. Ironically, she's proving the opposite because women today have more tools than ever. Education, remote work, community support to make having children work. We're not in caves anymore. If anything, now's a great time to build a family if you're smart about it. So to some degree, her argument is circling back on itself. She's right for the wrong reasons. And, it does get tiring. But all right, let me wrap this up. I do respect her hustle. She's educated, she's eloquent, and she's trying. I'll give her kudos and her flowers for that. But you don't need, all these words to try to make the point. You just talk regular. People will be able to understand you better. You've got some truth in there about planning and resources, but ranting about Trump, oppression, the economic down spiral, all those different types of things, it's too much. It's too much, right? And I obviously say this with love to the larger audience, right? Refocus and think bigger. Kids aren't the problem. The plan is, right? I personally plan on having 3 more children to have about 4 children in total. That's just me, and that's just how my plan looks. But to everybody who's watching, I greatly appreciate it. Drop a comment. Should women stop having kids because of today's world? I want to hear your honest opinions. Smash that subscribe button. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. We're taking the humble route. Send this video to someone you might think who might see some value in it, and never ever forget, it's you and I verse for a reason. I teach you, you teach me, and we both take what we taught each other and what we learned from each other and apply it to what's going on. That's the only way life can go on. Until next time, peace.